Okay, so let's set this up a little bit. So the previous chapter, which was chapter 11, Perek Yud Aleph, we discussed the idea of kedusha and Perek Shira, which is basically, again, he started with the idea that Adam is the neshama of the world, right? Person, right. So Adam is the neshama of the world, right? So therefore, everything, right, and we are the like Tzelem Elokim, right? That's where we start from the beginning. We're Tzelem Elokim, which means we are image of God. What does that mean? That means that we are like the source of all forces. Like just like God is the source of all forces. He gave the power over to us that everything in this world or in the creation, not only this world, the physical world, but everything in the creation begins with us. And the Malachim have no such powers. And everything starts with us. Starts with us. Everything begins with us.
I mean, okay? Now it starts with us, but prior, like we were
the last creation, which is gonna mention this a little bit. So right, so everything begins with us. All of the ups and downs of the world, everything starts with the human being, right? Okay, and how does that do that? Because how does that happen? That happens because the person is the microcosm of every force that exists, right? Every force that is out there has been an element of it exists in the human being, and therefore a person has the ability to unite and to elevate the whole bria, or to bring it down, to divide it and to bring it down. Right? That's the basic thesis of the book. Right so far. So now he's going to break this down into more detail. Again, it's impossible to break it down in complete detail because there's just so many different aspects of creation. So how could you possibly describe every ability of a human being? But he's going to describe it into the three main sections of a human being, which is the neshama, ruach, and nefesh. Right? Neshama means the highest soul. Right? The ruach is the spirit, is the middle soul. Let's call it. And nefesh is the lower soul. That's the one that's closer to us, right? So those are the three aspects, and then he's going to say that each of those three aspects corresponds to the three main stratospheres of human existence, which is Maisa, action, Dibur, speech, and Machshava, thought. Right? So the way a person influences the world is one of three ways, either through action, through speech, or through thought. Or really, it's usually all three in one. Okay? So that's how he's going to elaborate on this idea, on the ability to influence the world, the creation, through the various ways we affect existence.
Do they correspond to the souls that we have or not?
Right. So exactly, exactly do right. Okay. So basically, Perek Yud Beis, the 12th Perek, is going to concentrate on action. Okay, he's going to concentrate on action. Perek Yud Gimel is going to concentrate on Dibur. Perek Yud Dalet is going to concentrate on Machshava. But again, and now the Sefer is going to get, if you thought it was complicated, till now it was just like easy stuff. Now it's going to get much more cryptic. So some of the things I don't think there's just no way for me to be able to even comprehend. So we'll just do what we can. Okay. Anyway, so let's start. Okay. So he starts out with it. So Masha HaNeiron Shel HaAdam. What is the Neiron? Neiron is this. Neshama Ruach Nefesh. Or Nefesh Ruach Neshama. It goes the other way. Nefesh Ruach Neshama. Right? Meaning what the three souls of the person, Ein B'Yachol Tom, Lekasher HaOlomas, have no ability to be Mekasher, to unite the worlds, to tie them together, Ad Ridutom Lamata Beguf, until they actually are brought down into the Gufa Odom, into the physical body of the human being, Kanal, just as we mentioned above in Perek Yud, Kilesakin Olam HaAsiya, because in order to be Mesakin Olam HaAsiya, right, we mentioned this before, they're just parallel to the three souls of the human being, there are also three worlds, well, really there are four souls and there are four worlds, right, we mentioned that also, but the three that we kind of have connection to is the Neshama, Ruach, Nefesh, and parallel to that, there are three worlds, which is Bria, the world of creation, Yitzira, formation, and Asiya of action, right? So the main tikkun, the main fixing of the world begins in the world of Asiya, in the world of action, right? So the action is not possible unless there's a physical body that's doing the action, right? So if you want to correct, you want to meaning spiritualize, enlighten the world of Asiya, it requires physical action, right? So therefore, nefesh ruach neshama, the spiritual aspect of the person, has no tentacles to connect with the physical world unless there is a physical body, right? So therefore, kilusakin olam ha'asiyah, because in order to fix the world of asiyah, hutzruchu behechrich, they must be lehislabish beguf ba'olam ha'maseh. They have to go into the guf, the physical body, in the world of action. V'chein matzinu b'kavim kroisim medamru be'elo gimel abechinos. And we see many psukim that discuss these three bechinos, these three um, um, concepts, these three aspects. Okay. So now he's going to talk about be'inyan hahisoyrus shalamayla. So if we want to discuss the hisoyrus, the stirring that's above, alidei bechinas hamase, that happens through the concept of action. So Omar David HaMelech olav shalom. So David HaMelech says the following phrase: Hayoytzer yachad libam. He forms, right? Hayotzer yachad libam. He forms together, or yachad as one, libam, their hearts, right? Hamevin el kol maasehim, and he understands el kol maasehim towards all their actions. So it's a very peculiar way of saying it, right? So hayotzer yachad libam, you understand that Hashem forms our hearts as one, meaning somehow on some level of thought we are all connected. Okay. Hamevin al kol maasehim, that's harder to understand. He understands to all of our actions. It should say, well, if he pshutoi, according to the simple meaning, hoyeroi loimer hamevin kol maasehim, he understands all our actions. What is this funny phrase, this inserted word? He understands to all our actions, right? So towards all our actions. What does that mean? How do you translate those words? Close. Ve'omer el kol maasehim. So this that it says to our actions, he means to say what is nageya, what is, I think what he means, what's corollary to our actions. So corollary to our actions, meaning the byproduct of our actions. Okay, not only does he understand our actions, but anything that kind of the ripple effect of our actions, or it's more than just the ripple effect, not just consequences of our actions, but everything that our action that is incorporated into our action. That's a better way of saying it. Everything that's el kol maasehim to our actions, meaning everything that's incorporated in our actions. Okay, so he doesn't understand just our actions. That's more than the pasuk is saying. More than that, he understands everything that goes into our actions. El kol maasehim, to our actions. Everything that's to our actions. Right? There's more to our actions than our actions. There's stuff to our actions. Okay. So that's what he says. V'omer el kol maasehim. He says to our actions. Rotz lo nageya l'maasehim.
An example of that would be.
He's gonna explain. V'hainu shehu hayoytzer mizbarach shmoi. This means that he is the one who forms them. Blessed be he. V'hayoideya, he knows umeivin, and he understands that heichen maasehim agiyim, until where their ma'asem can reach. And what is negeh, what is connected to them in fixing of the worlds, or lehepach, or the reverse, chas v'shalom. Right? So meaning like this. So right. So let's go Freudian a little bit on this. Right. Mm-hmm. So Freud, being the father of psychology, but Nefesh HaChaim beats him a little bit to it, is that there is more to action than what meets the eye. Meaning Freud will tell you, right? Oh, you do this. Oh, it's really because of something else that's happening, right? Right. So whatever it is, whatever his whole philosophy is, right? That you really everybody whatever. It's not doesn't have to be mentioned here. Anyway, so the point is that the point. So right. So for example, let's say. Let's say a person helps somebody. Let's say a person helps an old lady cross the street, right? Mm-hmm. So you could say, well, why is he doing that? what goes into it? What do you mean? He wants to, he wanted to do a nice thing, so he did a nice thing. Yeah, but deep in his mind, he was thinking, I'm such a good guy. I'm such a hero. I'm helping this poor old lady, right?
Pride.
There's so much more to our actions than our actions, right? On the other hand, furthermore, let's think about this. Let's say, um, again, let's say the president, or I don't know, Warren Buffett, is at a business meeting and he's doing something important. All of a sudden, he sees an old lady walking down the street and he stops and he crosses the old lady down the street. It's a different type of an action. Only because he's a different person doing it at the same, being involved in different things. So his action, an action cannot be only looked at by here's what happened. Meaning, if a robot would do an action, you can only look at the actual physical occurrence that took place. But since we're not robots, we're human beings, so all of our actions have millions and millions and millions of things that are implanted into that action. And you know what else is in that action? The fact that 20 years ago, your mother said, what, maybe so how nice it is to cross the lady across the street, and maybe 20 years before that, your grandmother said something. There's so much in a human action that much more than we meets the eye. So Hamevin al kol maaseim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly. He can go into the genetic code of every action and really understand what is el kol maaseim, what is to that action. There's more to that action that we could even possibly understand.
That sounds scary.
It gets scary, don't worry. Okay, v'chein Koheles Omar. So Koheles says, Ki es kol maaseha Elokim yaviba mishpat al kol hane'elam. That all of the actions, ki es kol maaseh, for all of the actions, right? Ha'elokim, God, the God, yaviba mishpat, will bring to judgment al kol ne'elam, for everything that is hidden. Right? So first of all, just even in the simple level of this phrase, of this pasuk, you see that, right, there is ne'elam, there's something that's hidden within the action, and Hashem is going to bring that to light. But he says more than that. It says, V'loi Omer, it doesn't say in the pasuk, Ki ha'elokim yavi b'mishpat, as Kol Maaseh, that God will bring to judgment all of the actions. The grammar is a little bit, the sentence structure is a little weird. It switches around. Ki es kol maaseh elokim, ki es kol maaseh, for all the actions, comma, elokim yaviv mishpat, God will bring to judgment. You could have said much more straightforward. Just say, elokim viba mishpat is kol maaseh, God will bring to judgment all of the actions. Why do you do it backwards? For all of the actions, God will bring them to judgment. Right? So v'hainu ki Elokim perush ba'al hakoyches kulam, because Elokim, explanation of Elokim is ba'al hakoyches kulam. He is, as we said before, Elokim means the force of all forces, the Baal, the master of all forces. And that's the taich, that's the meaning of the word Elokim. Ubim'eis amoid ha'adom la'mishpat l'fanav yisbarach shmoi. So when a person stands up in judgment before Hashem, blessed be His name, they will not only judge the action for what it was, right? And not only what I said till now, all of the different aspects that go into the action, they will also take into account gam kol mas shigoram v'sibev al yidei ma'asov, everything that was caused and transpired through his actions. Mm-hmm. Right? Im tovim ra, whether for good or for bad. B'chol hakoychos v'ha'olamos, in all of the forces and of the worlds. Again, this is back to this idea. The idea is that a person is the soul of the world, right? And everything that he does, he's the microcosm of creation. So everything that he does has a ripple effect, has ramifications in this world, and then that one in that world, and it keeps on going, right? So you will not. So again, so every person is different. He's going to elaborate. Every person is different. Some people are pretty small people, and maybe their actions doesn't go that high. People who are bigger people, thinking people, then their actions is more destructive if it's bad, or it's more constructive if it's good, right? So Hashem will bring to light all of the, not just this little thing that, I told you don't do this and you did it. No, but let's see what the result of this is. Oh, see, you see this spiritual world. You see that darkened as a result, and you see as a result of that darkening, that world darkened as well. And you see as a result of that, something else happened. That all of the domino effect of the entire action, everything goes into accounting, right? So, so that's why it says Ki kol maaseh, all right, all of the actions of the ha'elekim, that is like elekim, meaning the elekim over here, all of the actions ha'elekim of the, I don't want to say, I don't want to say it wrong, but it doesn't, that it's, if you read it straight without a comma, it sounds like this: Ki kol maaseh ha'elekim yavi b'mishpat, that all of the actions of God He will bring to judgment. Right?
Okay.
All of, what do I mean? All of the actions of God. Obviously, it means, doesn't mean the actions of God. It means actions of man, comma, Elohim will bring to judgment, right? But if you don't put the comma, which reads straight, it sounds like all of the actions of God He will bring to judgment, and that's really what the pasuk is coming to hint. Because remember, God is like you said before, with showing us with the kruvim, right? Both kruvim are completely dependent on us, right? If we turn this way, the other kruv turns this way. So the action of Elohim in this world is also dependent on our actions. So not only are we responsible for our actions, we are also responsible for the actions of Elohim, of God, which results from our actions. Right? So that's what is Kiyas Kol Maaseh Ha'Elokim, even not only your actions, but Maaseh Ha'Elokim, the actions of God, that is the mirror image of your actions, Yavi B'Mishpat, will also be brought to light on the judgment day, as Kol Ne'elam, which is hidden from you now. Okay? Zeu Omroi Maaseh Ha'Elokim. That's what it means to say the actions of Elokim. Okay, let's continue. V'Omar Kiyas Kol Maaseh. It says it's es kol maaseh, like it doesn't say kol maaseh. It says, I'm sorry, that doesn't say. It says the whole actions or all of the actions. V'loy al kol maaseh. It doesn't say that you will be brought to judgment for all the actions, but all the actions will be brought to judgment. Right? It doesn't say that a human being will be brought to judgment for his actions. It says the actions will be brought to judgment. Right? What does that mean? Ha'inyan k'moishe omar. And this is a fact. This is going to be amazing. Okay, ha'inyan. So the idea here is Kimarshu Amar Iyov. It says by Iyov, Kipoyel Odom Yishalim Loy. Listen to this pasuk. Kipoyel Odom Yishalim Loy. The action of man will be paid to him. Okay, the action of man. He's going to elaborate on this phrase. Okay, here, but the action of man will be paid to him. So I'm just going to jump just ahead a little bit, meaning he's saying the action is itself going to be the payment. The action of Kipoyel Adam Yishalim Loim, the action of man will be paid to him. That action itself will be paid to him. The action itself is that reward, that Olam Haba, that Gehenim, that's what's basically the next couple of paragraphs going to pray. The action of man Yishalim Loim, the action of man will be paid to him. What will be paid to him? It doesn't say for the action of man he will be paid. The action itself will be paid. Right? So the action creates the payment, or is the payment. Okay? Kipoy Adam Yishalim Loy. The action of man Yishalim Loy. The action of man is paid to him. And this is like it explained above. That from the very moment that it goes up on a person's mind to do a mitzvah, Takef Naser Rishumay Lamala. That very second, there is a certain imprint that's made above. B'shor Shoher Elyon, in his root, in the root of his soul up above. Live nice, to build Vilintoya, and to plant Kama Oilomes V'koyches Elyonim, to build and to plant worlds and forces up above. Right. So the very thought of a mitzvah, a person creates a new world. Right now, just like it's like you make a credit card payment. So let's say if you go to a hotel, they charge your credit card, but they don't really charge it. They put a reserve on that money. So when a person begins to do a mitzvah, there's a rishuma. There is like a reservation. Oh, watch out, this space is about to be filled with the mitzvah. So there's already a place waiting which is going to be filled as a result of that mitzvah. And he brings a pasuk that I will put my words into your mouth by a novi, lintoya shemaim, to plant heavens, whatever, and to build earths. Don't read my sons, my builders, right? Mm-hmm. So we see that from the things that we say every Shabbos, right? If you are Hasidish every day, right? So the sons are the builders, right? This is the same thing. We're building the Shemaim, we're building the heavens, we're building the earth. Olam haba, when we say the next world, what does it mean, the next world? There is this world, and then there is the next world, which is being built with our actions, which is being created. For example, when we say by a siyum, right? We make a kaddish, right? A different kaddish by siyum. It says, right, in the world that will be renewed, etc., etc. Right, so it's a rebuilding. Olam haba means this world transformed into a different new world. That's what Olam haba means. Okay, so we're saying that that at the very moment of a person's thought to do a mitzvah, there is now a space reserved in that new world, allocated, right? Now that the space is reserved, there's like a vacuum created that's now reflecting back on a person and helps him to guide him towards actually the completion of that mitzvah. Because now that there is that they already made the plans, there's going to be now you get a siyata d'shmaya that's going to help you to actually fill that space. Right, he's going to get to that. So, so therefore, from him there goes down on him an or makif, a surrounding light, from this new from the lofty holiness. And that or makif, in that light, helps him to complete the mitzvah. And after he completes the mitzvah, HaKedusha v'ha'or mistalek l'shorshay. Then the Kedusha and the Or go back to its root, to fill that spot. V'zeu inyan schar olam haba. And that's the idea of the schar of olam haba, of the reward in the world to come. It's not that there is some olam haba waiting there, okay, and you're just waiting your time to get into it. Not shehu masi deha adamatzmai. No, the olam haba itself is the action of the actions of the person that he creates for himself. He creates his own olam haba. The olam haba is nothing there until he creates it for himself, right? Schar olam haba, the reward for olam haba, shehu masi deha adamatzmai. They are the actions of the person himself.
So basically, you create the olam haba according to your own level.
100%, right. She'achar preidas nafshay me'aguf, that after the separation of his soul from his body, hu ha'oilo lehis aden, he goes to paradise, to enjoy this paradise, lasbia nafshay, and to satisfy his soul. B'tzachtzachos ha'oiros, in the shine of the lights, v'hakoiches, in the forces, v'ha'oilomos ha'kedoshim, in the holy worlds, shinis vasvu, that were added, v'nisrabu, and they were increased, mima'asov ha'toivim, from his good actions. V'zeu shomer razal, and this is what our rabbi says, what our rabbis say, with the famous phrase, Kol Yisrael, every Jew, yesh lahem chelek, to all the Jews, they have a chelek, le'olam haba, to the world to come, right? Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek le'olam haba, every Jew has a chelek to the world to come. So he says, that's a funny phrase. It doesn't say they have a chelik in the world to come. They have a chelik to the world to come. Why doesn't it say in the world to come? Right? Because if it would have said that they have a chelik in olam haba, it means there's an olam haba out there somewhere, and you have a reserved spot in that olam haba. That's what if it would say olam haba. Right, Shemashmoy would mean that the world to come, who muchan, is ready Mesa Bria from the time of creation. Inyan v'davar latzman. It's a separate standing thing by itself. V'im yitzdak ha'adam yitnaloi b'sichrei chelak mena. If he and yitzdak, if he becomes righteous, right? They give him his portion that he deserves. Aval ha'emas, but the truth is not like that. She'olam habo hu masei de adam atzmai. The olam habo, it itself is the action of the person himself. Shehirchi v'hoisiv v'hiskin, that he expanded and he added and he was misakin and he fixed chelik le'atzma v'masav, the chelik for himself through his actions, right? So each one of us is building for himself their own olam haba.
So the reward for doing the mitzvah is the chance to build your olam haba. It's not like you get paid.
Not that the reward for doing the mitzvah itself builds the olam haba. And I think he's gonna say deeper than that. Okay,
so how
he's
is
gonna
that
say even
possible
more
that
deeper
you could
than
reunite with your, with the siblings that passed away? That you could reunite it if you create your own olam haba, you just get there, and there's nobody around you. You just by yourself.
You're presuming a space. You're presuming that there's a place. It's.
I don't know if this question is,
I don't know. See, he's so far. It's interesting. You're pointing out a good thing. I have to think about it more because he's really talking about olam habo after death.
Yeah.
Right. Olam habo, the real olam habo, at least according to Ramchal, is not really after death. It is, but it's not. Meaning, olam habo, according to Ramchal, is a physical world. Right. A physical world that's been completely transformed into almost non-physical, but it is still a physical world. There is some kind of a bodily form in Olam Haba. Maybe not the bodily form that we're used to, but something. I don't want to say tangible, but something exists. I don't know what the laws of physics are going to be in Olam Haba. I mean, because we're so used to our laws of physics, which are just. They don't really exist. They're not real. But I'm just saying, but we're used to them. We presume that they are real. I don't know what the laws of physics are going to be in Olam Haba, just like I don't know what the laws of physics are inside the black hole. Nobody does. Right? So, but there are possibly some laws of physics that function in the black hole, which is, we just don't know what those laws of physics are. But so in that sense, it's a space. I don't know if he means that Olam Haba, because right now he's clearly talking about the Olam Haba that's after death. Olam Haba after death, there is no body there. It's just a soul. A soul is not a physical thing. It's not. It's whatever. I don't know what it is. But again, I don't know what it is. But I'm just saying that. So the soul itself. So the mitzvah creates the soul. Okay, or creates new elements of the soul that would not would not have existed otherwise. So therefore. Your question then becomes, it's the Olam Haba is, let's say, if it's an experience, it's not an experience that has to be in any particular place. When we say we're building Olam Haba, we're building an ability to experience something. Where exactly you experience that, I don't know necessarily. But the point of what he's trying to make is that Olam Haba here is an experience, and you're building your ability to experience it. Whether it's going to be here or there, that's not the point. Whether he's going to be alone or with somebody else, it could be with somebody else too, but the point is that you could have two people, right? Let's say you could have two people going to a classical music concert, right? And one person who is, a musical connoisseur, a professor of music, and is sitting there and he's like seeing things and enjoying things the way you would never understand, right? I could be sitting there and be like, sounds nice, pretty good, beautiful,
I got you what you're saying.
Right? So okay. So anyway, so let's keep going. So So aval ha'emes sheho'ilam haba, that the world to come, who masei de adam atzma, they are the actions of the man himself. Shehirchi v'oisav iskin chelik la'atzma masa, that he created for himself a chelik through his actions. Lekach, Omar, that's why it says, Shekol Yisrael Yeshlem Lechol Echad, there is to each and every one, Chelek HaKedusha V'Ha'oros V'Atzach Tzechois, and a chelik in the holiness and the light, in the shining light, shehiskin v'hoisif lo'olam habo b'meimasav hatoyim, that he contributed to the olam habo through his actions. Now the star points me to the Hagon now, but even though it's located later, I'm not sure if it belongs here or later. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. We'll pick it up a little later. V'chein, because he's going to say the reverse now. That's for the positive side. Now he's going to say the reverse for the negative side. V'chein oinash haGehenim. Similarly, the punishment of Gehenim. In Yonah Gamkein, its matter is the same. She'achet atzmoi hu onshoy. The chet itself is the punishment. The sin itself is the punishment. The sin is an act of destruction. The sin is the act of destruction. Is the act of against godliness. The sin is we look at it as a physical action. I did something bad, but in that physical action, so we said before, there are repercussions for the spiritual world, right? So the repercussions for the spiritual worlds, those negative repercussions, that's exactly my Gehenna, right? So therefore, just like, it's not like, again, there's a Gehenna out there, and I go there to burn for whatever it is, 11 months or whatever the case may be, right? No, the Gehenna itself is my Averis. They're brought to judgment. It's called them, right? All the actions are brought to judgment. What does that mean? That means I experience all of these things that I did and all of the repercussions, and I live with that, and that's my Gehenna. I live with all the destruction that I created for myself, and that's my Gehenna. Just like I created all of the positive things and all of the lights and the kedusha, and that's my Gan Eden, so too all of the destruction I created, that's my Gehenna. Okay, so shachet atzmahu onsha. The chet itself is the punishment. Kamashikosav b'mishlei, like it says in Mishlei, avoinoisov yilkedunu, his averos, his avoinos yilkedunu, they will capture him as a rasha, the rasha, ubechevlei chatosoi yitomech, and through the chevlei, the I don't want to say punishments, but through the hurts of his sin, yitomech, he will be destroyed, right? Or another place says tiyasreich ro'oseich, your evil will be your yisurim. I don't know how to say your affliction. Tiyasreich ro'oseich, your evil will afflict you, right? K'moy shenizboyer. This is just like we explained. Shekasher ho'odam oise achas mitzvahs Hashem asher lo yitas. And when a person does one of the mitzvahs that he's not supposed to do, meaning the nevera hapagam v'achurban nirsham chas v'sholom, the damage and the destruction that is created, that is formed, takef l'mayla b'shorshay, is instantly made in the spiritual worlds, and that's the Gehenna that he will experience. Okay. And on the reverse of this, imlo'o hacharova, it says in Yechezkel, I will fill the destructions, right? Who make him umagber koiches v'chele atuma v'aklipos hamar arachamon yizbarach shmo yatzilenu. A person who, right, the destruction, Hashem says, I will fill the destruction, but the destruction is that a person make him, he stands up umagber, and he strengthens all of the forces of Tuma and the Klipos and whatever Klipos that a person does through his evil, and that's the Gehenna. Mishom, and from there, Mamshir Gamalatz Ruach Hatuma, a person on himself also draws down the Ruach Hatuma, that surrounds him, that surrounds him at the time of doing the sin, and after he completes the sin, Haruach Tuma Mistalik L'Mekoyma, the Ruach Tuma goes back to its original place. And really, when a person is performing the Avera in this world, he doesn't know it, but really in that very moment, he is located in Gehenna Mamish. Hamakifa be'esai that surrounds a person at the time that he's doing an Avera. Rak she'eno markish adayin, but he doesn't feel this yet, ad achar ptirosa, until he dies. That he was captured in the net that he himself created for himself. Hein hakoychos atuma. These are the forces of tuma. V'amazikin, and the damagers shenivru memasav, that are created through his action. Okay, but now this very important hagah. Amnam, however, okay, so, amnam meruba mida toiva. We have a principle that the good mida, the good side, is greater than the negative side. Meruba mida to behafresh v'yisunav, in many different layers and levels. Okay, ki atzachtzachos v'toisefes kedusha, the brightness and the addition of kedusha shenisvas v'masav atoivim, that are added through his person's good actions. Heim nitzchim, they are really eternal. Okay, v'kaimim le'olam, and they are forever. V'nafshem esadim b'hem ta'anug nitzchim, a person will forever reap the reward and benefit of that action forever and ever and ever. Right? Why is that? Because again, we believe that all of our negative actions, he's going to say this, let me jump a little bit, all of our negative actions, they're like they're not really to the depth of the core of our being. They don't connect with the root of our soul. It's just a temporary, we live in a small world, we live in a physical world, we're constantly surrounded by negative influences. We can't possibly live on such a high madrega that we're always, spiritual. We are, unfortunately, like little animals, monkeys running around, and so we do this thing bad, we do that thing bad. So even though, again, that we can't imagine all of the repercussions that come from our sins, but soif kol soif, the end of the day is, that is a much more limiting, it's a much more external to who we are than our good deeds, which are considered to be, which connect to the root of our soul. So therefore, all of our bad actions are temporary. So all the Gehenim is temporary. Because by definition, Gehenim has to be temporary, because by definition, the negative actions are temporary. And if the negative actions themselves create the Gehenim, so Gehenim will be temporary, because our negative actions are external and temporary. They're fleeting. They're not real. Mashenkin, our good actions are eternal, because they are much more internal to our... Right, because Gehenim is just, he's going to explain. So he's going to compare, Gehenim is called an aluka, a leech.
A cleaning
Right.
You go in, whatever with stained on you, they just clean.
Well,
up
he's
and
saying
come
much
back.
more. He's saying much more kind of deeper than that. He's saying that our Gehenna is only as much as our sins, and the more external really to us is our sin, the more temporary our Gehenna is. The more real our sin is, the more internal to us, and the more lasting the Gehenna is.
It's the same thing that when a person dies, like 11 months, it's been trial over there. So everything that you've done, as you said,
Right. I mean, we say it for 11 months.
Every detail that you thought about it, every detail that you possibly did or
Right.
didn't do or wanted to do.
Right.
This
Okay.
is-
So let's just finish. Yeah. But all of the koiches atuma, the forces of tuma, v'amazikin, and the damages shenivru that were created when Israbu, and that were increased mechatov through the sins of a person. Achar kibul kol ha'oinish hanikzav loy. After a person accepts all of the punishment that was set aside for him, hey mesim v'kolim aleihim, they die and they are destroyed by themselves. They have a self-destruct button. Ki atzmus chiyusun hu rak mi pagam ached, because their whole existence is only from the damage that was caused by the sin. V'harisa, and the destruction shegoram b'choyches v'alomes, that were a byproduct of in the forces and the worlds hakadoshim that are holy. Shemizen nimshach lem shefachis, that from that destruction of those worlds, the koiches atuma get their sustenance. V'nitzoytze or muat, and a little bit of sparks, derech tzinoris orchos akalkalois, through the various pipes, crooked ways that they get their sustenance. Meaning, again, it's a complicated idea of the whole existence of evil. How does that possible in a God, and if that's good? I'm not going to get into that now, but that's just so we use this kind of a mashal, right? Kinyan im lo hacharev, as it says, I will fill the destruction. V'kevan shekibel dinoi al yedeim, since when a person accepts the judgment that were for them, chel bola v'yokienu, he accepts the power, he swallows it v'kienu, and he throws it, he regurgitates it. V'nifsek chiyusim mela there, then their life sustenance is cut off. V'kolim me'alehem, and they cease to exist. So all the koiches atuma then as a result cease to exist. V'zeu ha'inyan shagenem nikra aluka. And that's the idea why Gehenna is called an aluka, a leech, right? A leech. What does a leech do? It sucks the blood. But once it sucks all the blood out, there's nothing. That's it. You're done. It's done. It's done. Shohaluka moitzetzes hadomim. The aluka sucks out the blood. Haroyim, all the bad blood, right? Umizehi mesa. Take off, and from that itself, from the sucking out of the bad blood itself, dies. Kain hu inyan Gehenim canal. That is the idea of Gehenim. So Gehenim is the chet which is created, right? The chet creates the Gehenim, and since the chet is temporary, so too the Gehenim is temporary. And when the Gehenim sucks out its own chet, it itself sucks itself out, so to speak, and it's done. And the Gehenim is done. It's a very temporary thing. Mashiach mitzvahs are eternal, are forever. Okay, so we'll have to stop